welcome to Quarantine Spook Show. I'm Kyle Kerezsi. This is the spookiest show you'll find around, with the exception of the news. If the news is still a thing, with the exception of social media documentarians. See, it's already spooky. I'll be telling improvised horror stories. Every title is unseen by me, and if you want to submit a title, you can email quarantinespookshow@gmail.com or follow us on Twitter at quarantinespook for updates. Now I'm gonna pull the first story and get right into it. This first story is called How Low Can You Go? People in the region called it the mouth to hell, but Theo called it an adventure. On the outskirts of town in the desert was a grand opening. It was a pit that you couldn't see from the top, in between some mountains and plateaus. It was a feat for professional hikers and mountain climbers around the world. But to the people in the region, it might as well have been folklore. Now, Theo saw this as a challenge to himself. He would watch Instagram stories about people going down to the mouth of hell. But the video would always cut off once they got deep enough. And in the historical archives of the region, there has been no footage that exists of the bottom of this mouth of hell, which heightened the lore that it truly was the mouth to hell. And anyone who does go deep enough can see it for themselves. So when Theo turned 22, he deemed himself ready to enter the mouth of hell. He went with a couple of his friends, Patricia and Monica and Daniel. It was was a bit of a college graduation celebration in some ways, but it was Theo's secret desire to enter the mouth of hell. He's already been mountain climbing for several years and rock climbing and all that jazz, so he had all the gear ready. His friends saw it more as a fun excavation, but he saw it as his destiny. So they started to embark down the mouth. You can get down to it just by walking at first, but then it gets more hazardous and you need more of a secure alignment to continue downward. And then it got to the point where you couldn't walk anymore because the spiraling trail that would go down would eventually end. Eventually had to pick a line against the wall and just descend. And they had their flashlights with them. Theo had his Instagram live already. He started to post videos online as he went down. And then it got to the point where the signal cut off. And he thought, oh, that must be why people couldn't post their Instagram stories from beneath the hole, because there was no signal. So it got to the point where Theo and his friends made it to the bottom of the mouth. They could see the opening to the sky clear above them. And then Daniel just said, "Alright, shit, we did it." And then Patricia said, yeah, I can't believe we finally made it after all these years living by it, you know? But Theo wasn't quite satisfied. He felt that there was more to this, you know? To him, this depth felt shallow, and he wanted to go deeper. So as he walked around the bottom with his flashlight, he saw there was another opening, a cavern that went downward. So he said to the others, like, "Hey, there's more mouth down here. Do you want to check it out?" And everyone else was kind of, they were hesitant at first. They were just like, I don't know. It's, we already made it down to the mouth, you know. I don't think that opening really counts as, the devil's mouth. And then Theo said, "It's the mouth to hell." And then Monica said, "Well, either way, you know, I think this is as far as I'm willing to go, personally. I can say I've been to the mouth and back, you know. It doesn't mean I want to go down to the gullet." And And eventually Patricia thought about it, and she said, yeah, you know what, I'll come with you for a little bit. You know, if it gets too dicey, then I want to turn back. And Daniel and Monica decided not to follow them down deeper into the mouth, into the gullet, to hell. But they said that they would wait at the opening so that they could all go back to the surface together. The walk took longer than Theo expected. They had to crouch down throughout the whole time, going down the cavern's pass. And his back was straining him, staying hunched over for so long. He was starting to feel more of the blisters on his feet. The light from his flashlight was dimming. He thought about using his phone, but he wanted to preserve the battery on that. Not that it would be much use anyway in an emergency at this point. But he still wanted to have it close at hand in case anything happened. At one point, Patricia didn't even have enough to eat. And Theo said, well, I have my granola. And Patricia said, oh, sorry, your granola, you know. What a saving grace, what salvation. Seriously, let's head back together. And then Theo said, well, you know what, you can just go head back by yourself. In fact, you can all leave the Devil's Mouth. I'm gonna keep going. I'll let you know when this journey ends so you know that I'm not dead. The seriousness in his tone really disturbed Patricia. And then Patricia said, well, I don't want you dead, so I'm gonna join you on this wild journey. So they continue to walk, and the cavern gets narrower and narrower as they press on. And eventually Theo slips. And then he falls into... It feels like that he falls off a cliff, but it's just a very high ledge, the bottom of which leads to the rest of the cavern. And Patricia says, oh shit, Theo, you alright? And Theo said, yeah, I think so. My ankle kinda hurts, but otherwise I'm fine. Says, oh, well, you gotta get back up so we can head back. I mean, it's definitely we're at the threshold of no return right here. Theo Theo said, no, I'll just keep going. And then Patricia said, well, I don't want to leave, but Theo, you gotta think rationally. I mean, how much further can you go down this hole? And then Theo, thinking about his childhood romanticization of the devil's mouth, and now as an adult, he was not only down towards the mouth, but down its throat and heading to its stomach. And he said, I'll go as far as it takes. And it broke Patricia's heart that Theo would go on such an endeavor down to this seemingly bottomless pit. But still, she climbed down the little cliff and then joined him for the rest of the journey. Theo was able to walk down further down this cavern. Patricia saw that Theo was in pain. And she said, hey, you can lean on me for the rest of this, you know. I know you're pretty tired. And your ankle's all sore and all that. And Theo said, no, I can make it on my own. Thank you, though. But it definitely hurt her to watch him limp. So they press on, and just when it felt like the tunnel would never end, they enter an opening. And it almost looks like an oasis, gonna do to your body for the rest of this journey. Theo wasn't listening. He just continued to drink from the deposit. And then he said, oh, my stomach hurts. And then Patricia said, yeah, what were you expecting to happen? And Theo said, oh no, I just wasn't, I wasn't really thinking, And then Patricia said, Theo, you gotta learn how to take care of yourself, Like, I get the hunger to explore the unknown, but you need to, rest up a bit. You need to be more strategic about this. You can't be this reckless for doing something this dangerous. And then Theo said, alright, I see where you're getting at. So they rest for about an hour. And then Patricia says, I don't know if we have much of a choice at this point. We're gonna have to try to camp here or try to take a nap or something. Then maybe head back in the morning. And then Theo said, no, I gotta keep going. There's still more cavern to be explored. And then Patricia said, well, Theo, we found this beautiful oasis, surely that's enough, I'm sure a lot of explorers that came by didn't see this, we can show other people, We can add it to the historical archives in the library, Maybe I can take some pictures on my phone and we can send them to people. We can post them on our Instagrams or whatever, This is definitely a feat, We should rest and then head back when we wake up. Theo said, no, I'm in it for the long haul. I After when we wake up, we gotta keep pressing on, you know. So they eventually slept and they woke up. And then when Patricia opened her eyes, she saw Theo already packing and already heading to the cavern opening. He was going to leave without her. And then Patricia said, "Theo, what are you doing?" And he doesn't listen and just keeps heading down the cavern. So she quickly packs and then starts to follow him down. She already lost sight of Theo, but she was walking down the cavern through the only opening that could be followed. She was sure if she walked long enough, she'd eventually catch up. And it's true, there is a part of Patricia who wanted to see what was at the end of this cavern. But her main need was to save Theo from himself, for him being too reckless or destructive, and then destroying himself in the process. So she pressed on. The cavern started to change a little bit. There's some deliberately written patterns on the walls, a scripture she couldn't decipher. A layer of moisture that appeared. That she wouldn't really compare to water directly. Eventually she finds another opening, much grander than the oasis that her and Theo found. It was so large that it barely looked like it was indoors, you know. It almost looked like a swamp, you know. There was a lot of liquid to step in, from ankle to knee high. There were some underground trees. Moss was growing on the cavern walls. So Patricia walks around at this beautiful landscape and calls out to Theo over and over again. She was projecting her voice as loud as she could. Eventually she finds him, crouched down in the swamp, next to what looked like a dead body. Theo's crouching down, holding a phone, trying to turn it on. And then Patricia said, "Theo, what the hell are you doing? We gotta get out of here." And then Theo said, "I followed this guy on Instagram. I recognize his hat. It's a vintage Captain Planet hat." He kind of wore it in a way, it was just like, yeah, I'm down for the planet and all, but also, adhering to his childhood nostalgia, you know. eventually he turns on his phone. Then he doesn't know the password. He's just like, oh, damn it. And then he chucks it back into the water, not really knowing what he was expecting. And then Patricia leans down and goes through his pockets and finds a little notebook. It was like a little mini diary, a pocket-sized one. And she goes to the last entry of the notebook and reads it, and it says, "This is the belly of the beast. I finally made it here. I don't know if anyone will read this before I'm digested. If this notebook survives, turn back now or press on. And then there are more notes in the entry, you know, the kind of thoughts someone would have at the end of their life. And then Theo said, alright, well, you saw the note, let's press onward. And then Patricia said, no, I'm not doing that. I'm done on this journey. I'm gonna turn back. Theo said, well, think of it this way. If you consider the human body, if this truly is the belly of some ancient beast, it'd probably be faster to press forward than it would be to go back, right? Patricia thinks about it for a bit. And then she said, well, you know what? No, I'm gonna... You know what? You go ahead first and I'll follow. And then Theo said, really? And then Patricia said, yeah, I can do that. So they look around the swamp, trying to find another opening of some sort. They find some little geysers here and there, but no openings that lead anywhere. Patricia said, alright, Theo, this might be the last time I'm going to try to persuade you, but I'm going to head back, and I want you to join me because I don't want you to die. And Theo said, but wait a minute. If this really is the belly of some ancient beast, then these geysers might be opening to an intestine system or something. We can crawl in there. Patricia said, well, Theo, it's really try to, like, actually dig in there. It's really hot. You can burn yourself. You won't live through it. And Theo just shrugged and said, well, I gotta find out anyway. So without giving her any warning, Theo sees the geyser and then tries to bellow himself in. The geyser erupts and he burns himself. And he tries to cool himself off with the swamp water, but that only makes it burns more. And he's screaming, wallowing in pain. Patricia tries to pull out her first aid kit to try to help with the burn sores. Theo's in so much pain that he can't really fathom what's happening. And then Patricia grabs Theo and says, Theo, if this is the belly of an ancient beast, if you move forward, you will be digested. I'm taking you with me whether you like it or not. Eventually, Theo passes out from the pain and the shock. So Patricia eats a granola bar and then lifts him up and carries him. She has to take a lot of breaks and she has to rest a lot. She definitely has to camp multiple times on her way back, going past the oasis, going back up that cliff that they fell off. She doesn't know how many days pass, or how much weight she's lost on her journey back. And eventually she does return. And upon her return, it's daylight. And her friends Monica and Daniel are there, as well as some park rangers and a rescue team gearing up to enter. Be as enlightened as I'm going to be with a journey like that. I don't know about Theo though. And then she sets Theo down, and he's already deceased. His heart stopped midway through the journey, and Patricia tried to do what she could, but she couldn't save him. Patricia wanted to talk about the beautiful sight of the cavern and the devil's mouth and the devil's gullet. But she was too stricken and disappointed by Theo's death and feeling regret herself for not being able to do anything. But within that grief, she remembered the beautiful sights of inside the gullet. I remembered that Theo mentioned that he took a lot of pictures and video as they were traversing the cavern and the swamp and all that in the oasis. So she takes his phone to see the pictures for herself, but she doesn't know the password. I'm gonna have one drink, and then I'll return. Alright, this next story is called Dungeons and Dolphins. Andre was totally stoked to play Dungeons and Dragons at his neighbor's house. At the ripe age of 17, he's never played the game before, but was ecstatic about playing it for the first time with his neighbor and his friends. Now, I didn't know this group very well, but him and his neighbor had a chemistry class together, and they would just chat about things, the state of the earth, philosophy, Beavis and Butthead, you know, all the ripe, important matters that teenagers discuss. Invites him one day, hey, have you ever played Dungeons and Dragons? And then Andre said, no, I never had. And then his name was Harold, said, well, you should, come by sometime, we're having a game this Saturday, actually, And Andre said, oh, cool, but, I don't know how to play, though, or anything. And then Harold said, no, that's fine, just, come by with your wits and we'll just walk you through it, And then Andre said, yeah, cool. So then Saturday came and Andre found himself at Harold's door, He knocked on it, waiting for an answer. mother opened it, and she said, "Oh yeah, you're Andre." Okay, cool. Yeah, they're in the basement, just getting set up for the game. And Andre said, "Yeah, cool, yeah." So he goes down the stairs, and then everyone's all like, "Hey, Andre," even though he never met anyone there besides Harold. And then Andre says, "Alright, this is Steve, and this is Stan." And then Andre says, "Hey, I'm Andre." Stan says, "Hey, I'm Stan." Steve says, "Hey, I'm Steve." So they just start chatting about things, the state of the world, philosophy, all that jazz, as they're setting up the game. And then Harold's, he's setting up, and he's just like, "Alright, pretty stoked for this particular game." And then Andre said, "Oh yeah, I've never played Dungeons and Dragons before." And then Harold said, "Dungeons and Dragons? Oh no, we're gonna be playing a different version tonight. I thought I explained it earlier." No. This version's called Dungeons and Dolphins. Dolphins? I've never heard of that game. And then Steve said, the rules are practically the same, you'll get the hang of it very quickly. And then Andre said, "Well, alright." So it starts off, like a usual game would. They had their character sheets and they were pretty much ready to go. And it started off in the ocean, on a little island. But then once the campaign started, Stan, Steve, and Harold started making dolphin noises, dolphin impressions and whatnot. Like they were speaking dolphin to one another. And then Andre's trying to keep up where the campaign goes, and he's just like, "Wait, stop! Sorry, I'm not getting it." And then Harold's just like, "Oh, what's up?" And Andre just says, "Well, you're all making like dolphin noises at each other, And then Stan's like, "Yeah, we are." And Andre said, "Well, one, I can't do a dolphin noise myself. And two, how do you understand each other when you make those dolphin impressions?" And then Harold said, "Oh, it's just how the game is played. Once you get used to the game, you get used to the language of dolphins." And Andre says, "Alright, yeah, I don't know, how about you try doing a dolphin impression?" said Steve. And Andre said, "Oh, well, no, I don't know if I want to do that, Not really good at impressions, period." And then Harold said, "Oh, come on, just give it a try." And then Andre's just like, "Alright, okay, that was okay. Good for a first try. How about you can be the dolphin that, doesn't really say anything, You can still, what, if you just say things in English, we'll just guide you through it. How about that?" And Andre said, "Yeah, sure, I guess so." So the game goes on, everyone's speaking dolphin. Andre doesn't quite get the rules, he just kind of tries to go along with the game as best he can, Sometimes the dolphin people would ask him questions, and Andre, based on the tone of the question, he'd either say yes or no, I don't know, yeah, whatever floats your boat, sure, no pun intended. That didn't make any of the dolphins laugh. And mentally, Andre was referring to them as dolphins, even though that they were human, but they were just so convincing with their dolphin noises. So at one point in the game, Andre still doesn't quite know what's happening in the campaign, but Stan turns to him and asks him a question in a dolphin sound. Now the other dolphins are trying to like egg him on, like, oh yes, you should say yes to this question, based on the tonality of the dolphin impressions, through the body language and all that, and all the ways you can communicate without language. And then Andre said, yeah, sure, I guess. And then all the other kids make a bunch of excited dolphin noises. Harold takes out a dagger. And then Andre says, makes more dolphin noises. Not Andre. Andre says, oh, what the hell is that? And then Harold responds in dolphin noises. Stan and Steve, they both nod, also with dolphin noises, egging them on. And then Harold starts to wave it in front of Andre. Andre stands up and backs against the wall, and he says, whoa, I didn't sign up for this. And then Harold stops and says, oh, Andre, what's going on? And Andre said, why are you waving that knife at me? And then Harold says, oh, well, this is just part of the game, for the campaign, we had to make a blood sacrifice, and you volunteered to do it, so we're gonna cut you a little bit, and then it's gonna be incorporated to the game. And then Andre said, no, I don't want to be cut in that way. And Harold said, well, like in the campaign, you consented to it, I mean, you can back out now, but it wouldn't really make you a team player. And then Andre said, well, I didn't know we had to, like, speak dolphin, for this game. And then Stan just said, oh, you should have done your research then. And then Harold's just like, all right, take it easy. Look, if you don't want to get cut, for the sacrifice, that's fine, but it's really going to stifle the game. It's going to make the rest of the game a huge pain in the ass, It's really a lot of great power-ups. It really moves the plot along. So just, come on, take one for the team. And then Andre said, alright, fine. So they light some candles and commence the ceremony and all that. And Harold lightly jabs Andre's hand and drips the blood into a little vial and then seals it with a cork. And Harold said, oh, well, where do you think? We're going to SeaWorld. And Andre's just like, why are we going to SeaWorld? And Harold said, well, it's part of the game, The best way to play Dungeons and Dolphins is with real, bona fide dolphins. And Andre's just like, I don't know about this one, Come on, just won't be too long. It's how you play the game, you set your night aside to play it anyway. I got a car, we'll just head over there, it won't be any big thing. And then Andre's just like, alright, fuck it. And the car ride was more awkward than the game itself. Everyone in the car was speaking dolphin to each other, except for Andre. And it's needless to say, he had no idea what the fuck was going on. He's not sure if the campaign is still going on in the car, or if he's just missing out on all this dolphin speak. completely lost sight of the lines between reality and the D&D campaign. Eventually they arrive at SeaWorld. And then Steve has some bolt cutters where he breaks the chain that locks the fence to the entry of SeaWorld. They go through the catacombs of the aquariums and all that. And eventually they go to the surface of the dolphin tank, where 3 dolphins are swimming around. So then Harold makes a dolphin noise, and then everyone else sits down and starts setting up the board again. And Andre reluctantly sits down with them. But then they add more things. You know, they have a cloth, they have candles, some markers where they can write little insignias around the pavement. So eventually they get back into the game, you know, what it seemed like to Andre at least, because they were rolling dice and checking their character sheets and things like that. And then Harold eventually stands up and he starts chanting in Dolphin. Steve and Stan join him. Andre just watches, not quite knowing what the fuck's going on. And then they summon, then as they're chanting, the dolphins from the tank start to swim towards them, and they're like spectating the chanting. And then Harold takes the vial of Andre's blood, and then pours it into the pool. Makes the dolphins go crazy. They seem ecstatic at the notion of human blood in their pool. Eventually one of the dolphins leap out of the pool and starts to land on Andre, and then Andre's just like, whoa, get off me, so he backs away. And then starts fleeing. And then Harold says, no, wait, Andre, come back, we have to finish the ceremony or it won't be complete. And Andre just says, I don't care. Harold says, no, you don't understand. If you don't finish the ceremony, but then Andre left too far away to finish the rest of what he was going to say. So eventually Andre's outside of SeaWorld, you know, doesn't know what to do, doesn't know where to go. He assumes the next best bet is to try to get a ride back to his house or something and forget this weird, awkward night. So then he calls his mom on his phone, and he's just all like, Mom, can you pick me up at SeaWorld? It's a long story, I know I'm in trouble or whatever, but, you know, just, can you just, like, pick me up and take me home, or, like, send Dad or something? And then his mom says, who is this? And Andre's just like, oh, it's Andre, you know, caller ID and all that. And it's just like, I don't know who you are making this, I don't know why you have my son's phone making all these dolphin noises. But if you, Andre says, this is you. Stop fooling around. Come on. And Andre's just like, no, Mom, it's me. I'm not making dolphin noises. And eventually his phone dies, so he can't finish the conversation. So then he goes to a nearby gas station, you know, maybe trying to, maybe he can find like a bus schedule or some sort of like a Uber pickup thing from there or something. Or like trying to get the gas station attendant to call Uber or something. Any number of things. But he tried to go to the gas station so that he can get a way back. Goes to the gas station attendant and he says like, hey, can you call like an Uber for me or something? Or can I at least see like a bus schedule or something? And the gas station attendant just looks at him, not knowing what he's talking about. And then Andre keeps trying to speak to him, but the gas station attendant is just like, listen, I'm not into all these like dolphin impressions or whatever, you know. If you're one of those dolphin fanatics that does all that weird culty shit, you know, at SeaWorld after hours, I'm not into it, so just please leave, you know. So then it occurred to him that he could only speak dolphin. He couldn't speak human at all. Maybe that's what Harold was trying to say before he left, that he would be stuck speaking dolphin unless he continued on with the ceremony and the campaign. So reluctantly, he returns to SeaWorld past the opening in the fence, goes to the dolphin pool, and everyone's still there, continuing the campaign. And then Harold says, Andre, there's still time to, finish the initiation and the campaign. And then Andre's just like, yeah, let's finish the initiation. So then Harold and Steve and Stan commence more dolphin chanting. The dolphins continue to freak out. And then Harold's just like, alright, now you can walk among the worlds of both human and dolphin. And Andre's just like, fuck, great, I guess, you know. So then they play the rest of that tabletop game till dawn. And as much as Andre didn't want to admit it, it was the best gaming experience of his life. Alright, this next story is called I Feel Like I'm Gonna Die. Clarence was wallowing in pain at the hospital, and he shouts at the top of his lungs, I feel like I'm gonna die. He's sitting alone in a hospital bed. During the visiting hours, his girlfriend, Brittany, comes to visit. And Brittany says, "Oh, Clarence, how are you feeling?" And then Clarence says, "Oh, I feel like I'm gonna die." And then Brittany says, "I'll try to get a doctor or someone." So she runs frantically around the halls. Sees the first doctor in a white coat that she can find. And she says, "Hey, my boyfriend feels like he's gonna die and you're not doing anything." And the doctor looks at her puzzled. And he says, "Oh, are you talking about Clarence?" And she says, yes, Clarence feels like he's gonna die. Aren't you gonna do any treatments or try to diagnose him with something? And Clarence looks into the hospital room. Clarence sees the doctor. And the doctor slowly closes the door so that he and Brittany can speak in the hallway with some privacy. And the doctor says, "What was your name?" "It's Brittany." "Okay, Brittany. How long have you known Clarence?" And then Brittany says, "Well, we've been dating for about 5 months, And he says, okay. Is this the first time he said that he feels like he's gonna die?" And then she said, no, well, he says it a lot. He tends to get sick often, But today it seems really bad. And the doctor says, "Okay, well, Clarence has been an on and off patient of mine for maybe 10 to 12 years at this point. And I'm here to say that Clarence feels like he's gonna die a lot. Usually the go-to term for this would be a hypochondriac. But that doesn't quite apply to Clarence's case. So usually hypochondriacs think they have like an illness, if they have a fever, they think it's worse than it is. If they get a cough, they think it's worse. They often always think that they have cancer or something because they feel icky in a certain way. And that leads them to believe that it's a symptom for something far worse. But in the case with Clarence, he just always feels like he's gonna die, There's this one joke that floats around from a TV show, perhaps in the 90s, where there's an imminent death syndrome. Or, scratch that, he thinks he's gonna die at any moment. You can't really treat that, really, unless you do it psychologically, but Clarence has repeatedly refused to do that. So this idea of him feeling like he's gonna die, it's nothing new. Brittany says, "Okay, well, I guess, being his girlfriend and all, what can I do about it?" And the doctor shrugged and says, "Well, if he always feels like he's gonna die, presumably you'd want him to feel like he's not going to. And I would use whatever means you have in your disposal. So Clarence doesn't feel like he's gonna die. But after treating him for so many years and his family, I would assure you to get used to Clarence feeling like he's gonna die." And then Brittany says, "Okay, alright, I'll see what I can do on that front." So eventually, Clarence was relieved from the hospital because the doctors couldn't diagnose him with anything. So then Brittany, drives back to Clarence's house. They spend the night together. Brittany wakes up again to Clarence shouting, I feel like I'm gonna die. And then Brittany comes in and says, Clarence, you're not gonna die, you know. Clarence says, yeah, I can get stung by a bee, I can get hit by a car, you know, any number of things. I just don't know how I'm gonna die, but I feel like I'm gonna die. Maybe a psychologist or a therapist or something. And then Clarence says, no, that won't help it out at all, because I feel like I'm gonna die. And then Brittany said, okay, alright. So they go on dating and then the next few months, they're dating some more, they do outings. Maybe Brittany didn't see it before, but I guess when they were first dating, Clarence surely must have felt like he was gonna die. Clarence can't quite get a grip on his emotions and all of that, and that really weighs down on Brittany, reasonably. Because the big thing is Clarence doesn't have any immediate threats in his life that can take him at any moment. It's just his own paranoia and hysteria doing the talking. Continue to date for another several months. And Clarence just gets more and more open about him feeling like he's gonna die, and it infiltrates every conversation. And Brittany just says, oh yeah, you know, I get it. Eventually, they're spending the day together, you know, it's around dusk. They were just having a barbecue and they were saying goodbye to some guests, but there's still plenty of people, like, out in the yard and whatnot. Then Clarence and Brittany realize that they're, they run out of whiskey. And then someone at the party's just like, someone's got to get more whiskey. And then Clarence says, I can always get that whiskey. I can just go across the street and get it, you know. And then Brittany, feeling fed up with the relationship entirely, says, I hope you don't die while getting it. And Clarence is just like, whatever, Brittany. And all the guests can tell, you know, that there's a lot of strain in their relationship and all that jazz. So eventually Clarence leaves, and then everyone in the backyard hears a screech and then a loud bump from the front of the house. So everyone rushes over to the front yard, and then Clarence is underneath the car that was speeding down the street. He's near the back tire, and the guy who was driving the car steps out. He says, oh shit, I didn't see him. And then one of the party guests is just like, well, who speeds down a residential neighborhood like that? And then Brittany rushes down to Clarence, you know. He's half dazed, you know, really out of it. And then Brittany Brittany says, oh my god, Clarence, are you okay? And then Clarence gives out a really loud groan, and he's just like, oh yeah, I'm fine. So eventually he gets out from underneath the car and he tries to stand up, but then he falls flat on his face again. And then Brittany says, Clarence, oh my god, you have a bone sticking out. And then Clarence says, no, I'm fine though, I'm fine. Brittany said, Clarence, you might die from this if you don't get immediate hospital care. And then Clarence is just like, no, I got it. I can just walk it off. And then Brittany says, Clarence, you have a bone sticking out. Most of your bones leaving a trail of blood, past him. Eventually he goes into the liquor store, and then Brittany goes after him, and then the guy at the liquor store says, hey, this guy's bleeding all over the place, can you get him out of here, maybe get him to a hospital, I'll call someone, but get him to lay down some bandages, this guy needs immediate medical care, come on. And then Brittany's just like, yeah, we're working on it. And then Clarence is just like, no, I just want one whiskey, please. And then he pulls out a bloody 20 and a bloody 10. And then Brittany just says, Clarence, you cannot keep pressing on like this. If you do, you will die, It's absurd that you don't feel like you're gonna die right now, because you totally might happen in this case. And Clarence is like, no, I'm good. Eventually he passes out. They get an ambulance. They rush him to the hospital. Eventually Brittany sees him again, all bandaged up from the accident. Talking about insurance claims and all of that. And then Brittany said, yeah, I really thought you were gonna, die for a hot second. And then Clarence just says, well, yeah, I guess that was a bit of a close call. So then weeks go by and his wounds heal. Eventually they're healed enough so he can go back to his house, still having some casts and all that. And eventually, physically, he gets as better as he can, with the exception of some sort of long-term side effects of severe physical trauma like that. So after it's been a week since all the casts have been let off and stuff, Brittany's just like, oh yeah, well, at this point you're pretty much fully healed, Must be feeling pretty great about it. How do you feel? And then Clarence, eating some cereal and taking the spoon and mixing the grains around in the milk. Just says, I think now more than ever, I feel like I'm gonna die. And then he gets up and leaves. Just sits alone at the kitchen table, finally understanding Clarence, because at that moment, she totally felt like she was gonna die. that's been Quarantine Spook Show.